One team that doesn't need Russell Wilson is the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson about to win MVP award for the second time, assuming the Ravens beat the Dolphins on Sunday. If the Dolphins beat the Ravens, then all of a sudden it becomes the Tua Tyreek conversation again. Jackson and the Ravens beating the 49ers has knocked this polite gentleman society conversation where Brock Purdy stumps for Christian McCaffrey, and McCaffrey stumps for Purdy and Trent Williams, and there's multiple potential candidates for MVP. That's gone now. That's over. The only one that has a chance out of that group now is Christian McCaffrey. And if the Ravens are the 1 seed in the AFC, given what they did to the 49ers on Monday night, Lamar Jackson is the MVP. And I'm careful about how I phrase it because I've got one of the votes. They don't want us to say what our vote is going to be. But I can say if the vote was right now, I would vote for Lamar Jackson. I don't know how I'm going to vote 2 weeks from now. There's still more hay in the barn, or hay to be put in the barn, or chapters in the book, or whatever metaphor you want to use, or not. But as of right now, it's Lamar. If they beat the Dolphins on Sunday and nail down the 1 seed, I'll still be inclined Lamar. After week 18, we'll see. If the Dolphins win, then that changes things a little bit. But the Ravens on Monday night did what I didn't think they could do. And look, I knew when I said what I said last week that if the Ravens win that game, I'm going to go through a few things on social media and elsewhere. And I do regret phrasing it the way I did, because it was, even though I acknowledge, I know it's disrespectful to the Ravens, but I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the Ravens. My point was the 49ers would kick the crap out of everybody, anybody. Whoever was coming to San Francisco on Monday night was in for the same kind of butt kicking that has been distributed by the 49ers every week that everyone was healthy. Only when they fell into that 3-week period, thanks to the Browns game, where you had Trent Williams injured and Deebo Samuel injured and Christian McCaffrey banged up. They lost that game on a missed field goal. Then the Vikings beat them on Monday night, and then they lost by 14 at home to the Bengals. After that was their bye week, and they won by at least double digits every game after that. So that's the buzzsaw I thought the Ravens or anyone was walking into. Whoever the team would have been, I would have said what I said last week. And the Ravens, to their credit, they found a way to go to San Francisco and win that game. And the good news for all of us who love the NFL and who want a competitive postseason, it now no longer feels like it's just the 49ers to win and lose, and it's them, and it's no one else. Now there's a greater sense of uncertainty. Now maybe there's been some weakness exposed in the 49ers, that the Eagles or the Cowboys or the Lions or the Rams are the one team to watch out for in the NFC. They got nothing to lose. House money, weren't supposed to be here. Dangerous team, great players, great vibe right now. If I'm the 49ers, I said this earlier today on PFT Live. The 49ers have the 1 seed locked up going into week 18, and the Rams haven't clinched a playoff spot, and there's any way to knock them out, the 49ers need to go all out and get the Rams out. You don't want the Rams showing up in your building. They're not intimidated by you. They play you twice a year. They know what you do. They know what you want to do. They don't freak out at the crowd or any of the things that go along with trying to sneak into the home of a big bad team like the 49ers and taking care of business. So they should definitely want the Rams out. But other than that, I think the 49ers could take care of the rest of the conference. But Monday night's game at least gives a little glimmer of hope for the Cowboys, who lost to the 49ers 42-10, and the Eagles, who lost to the 49ers 42-19, and the Lions, who probably would lose to the 49ers. But I've learned not to be so extreme in my prognostication. And that leads to another point I made yesterday. And look, we make picks because we have to. Anytime somebody says, oh man, they're paying you to do that, you suck. Well, they don't pay me to make picks. We just kind of do it as part of the job. I'm here to cover the NFL. Break some news, distill some news, analyze news, try to get you ahead of the curve on moves like the Russell Wilson imminent divorce from the Broncos. The picks are just part of it. It's like when in Rome. Before the season, when in Rome. You got to make a prediction of the playoff tree. Everybody does it. Time to play games, got to make your picks. It's just part of it. I've said, and this was before any of this Ravens stuff happened, I've said I'd rather just watch the games. I don't need the extra dopamine rush from being right to enjoy the games. I just like enjoying the games for what they are. It's one of the reasons I've never been all in with fantasy football, because that screws up your rooting interest and just your interest in the game, because you're worried about this player on this team and that player on that team. What about this player on this team? I just like the games for the sake of the games. I don't need any extra enhancement to enjoy the games. Whatever game's on TV, I enjoy it. Whoever makes it to the playoff, I enjoy watching it. I enjoy the stakes, the drama, the competition that leads to a Super Bowl. I don't need any of that other stuff. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to stop making picks. I'd prefer not to, but when in Rome. So we keep doing it, and the competition that Chris and I have is kind of fun, but it does take away from enjoying the games. Like, I was way too focused on the Commanders and the Jets on Sunday because I had the Commanders and he had the Jets. Now, it made a game that I otherwise wouldn't have cared about interesting, more interesting to me, or interesting at all. So that's just kind of how the way it goes. And the one thing I've learned is, look, and here's the balance we're trying to strike. We're trying to create compelling, entertaining content. So sometimes do we get a little loose with the language? Are we a little strong? Maybe a little profanity? Yes. The goal is to make the process enjoyable, to try to add to your overall enhancement of following the NFL. And I understand sometimes I'm going to write a check that I'm going to have to cash on the back end. And if it happens, I will. But will I be a little more careful, at least for the rest of the season? Absolutely. Will I be picking the Ravens in every game that they play the rest of the year? You betcha. But I just have a general dislike for this idea that we have to pick every game, pick every game, pick every game, pick every game. Let's just enjoy the games. And the other thing, too, and I don't know where I stand on this. I mentioned this yesterday. I understand that legalized gambling is a big part of the NFL experience now. It used to be you had to have a bookie because you were doing something that was illegal, except for in the state of Nevada. And now it's so accessible. It's everywhere you go. There's ads on PFT Live. There's ads on NFL Network. There's ads during games. There's ads in pregame. You pick up your phone and you scroll through social media. There's ads there. It's so easy. It's so accessible. I really hope that we find the right balance, because you may draw in some people who end up developing a gambling addiction when they otherwise would have never even been inclined to go anywhere and begin the process of betting. But when it's in your face all the time, it's right there. All you have to do is download the app and punch the button and off you go. And this is something Peter King's been talking about for a few years, and I give him credit for it. What kind of problems will this create? And look, I understand, hey, the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness includes an inalienable right to screw up your life if you choose to do so, whether it's by smoking too many cigarettes, drinking too much booze, gambling all of your money away. They call gambling, when it was illegal, a victimless crime. Well, the only victims are like the people who depend financially on the person who gets hooked on it and blows all the money that otherwise would provide, a roof over their heads. So that's another thing I just kind of monitor, and I'm kind of uneasy about all of it, because, and you'll see there's no gambling ads on profootballtalk.com or on our Twitter page. Now, we've got some reads that we do on PFT Live. That's an NBC thing. That's not a PFT thing. I've yet to do one of these deals where you get paid for however many people you get to sign up, because there's just, I want to give it more time, and I want to think about it some more, about being the one who lures to gambling someone who has no business putting that money down on something that they think is a winner, something they think is a sure thing. Because the reality is, this isn't like stocks. With stocks, you can figure out a way to make some money. With gambling, the odds, the process, I don't want to say it's rigged so the house wins, but it's hard to win. It's very hard to win. Every game that you see at a casino, it's rigged so the house wins over time. And with the way they set the odds, it's hard to win consistently. So anyway, I didn't mean to get that far down the rabbit hole, but that's one of the reasons why let's just enjoy the games. I just want to enjoy the games. And every game we watch, we have an idea of what we think is going to happen, and sometimes we're surprised. And I was pleasantly surprised by what the Ravens did, because it does make things more interesting for the remainder of the regular season, and more importantly for the postseason to come. Because now The 49ers don't seem quite as invincible. Oh, and by the way, the Ravens are looking pretty damn good with Lamar Jackson at quarterback and on his way to his second career MVP.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.